Now we shall study some properties of congruences. These are written as our second theorem. Last time we have defined congruences, and now consider let n greater than 1 fixed number integer and a, b, c, d are arbitrary integers. Arbitrary means any integers. Then we have the first property, a is congruent to a under modulo n, and the remaining, so total 6 properties we have written here, and we shall prove it one by one. Now the proof. For first, we shall use only the definition of congruence. What is the definition of congruence? We have a is congruent to b modulo n if a minus b is equal to kn. So this is for some k, for some integer k. This is the definition of congruence, and mainly we will use the definition to prove all the results. First is a is congruent to a. We can write a minus a as we have, or we can write a minus a, which is 0, and 0 into n, that is same as 0. So this is of the same form, a minus b is equal to k into n. K here is 0. So this implies, therefore, n divides, or in other way n divides a minus a, or that means a is congruent to a itself. Here a is congruent to b, therefore a is congruent to a under modulo n. Every integer is congruent to itself for any modulus, because a is equal to a, and equality is strong relation than congruence. Now second, see, a is congruent to b mod n under modulo n. So what this will imply? This implies by definition a minus b is equal to kn for some k, for some integer k. And again this will imply, now we multiply both sides by minus 1, on that will give here b minus a is equal to minus k into n, multiplying both sides by minus 1. And what this gives, b minus a is equal to some integer, k is integer, minus k is also integer, and therefore this implies b is also congruent to a modulo n. And this property, we can say this is reflexive property. A is congruent to a itself, that is reflexive property, and this property is called symmetric property. If a is congruent to b, then b is also congruent to a. Second, we have proved. Now the third. See, a is congruent to b. Let a congruent to b mod n, and second is b congruent to c modulo n. First is congruent to second, second is also is congruent to third. Then we want to show that first is congruent to third, a is congruent to c, we have to prove. So what this implies is, since a is congruent to b mod n, a minus b is equal to kn, and b is congruent to c, same definition we will use, b minus c is equal to another integer, say hn, or we may use k1, k2, or we shall use first k and h, hn, for some integers k and h. Now what we shall do is to prove a is congruent to c, we want a minus c, and therefore we add these 1 and 2. Suppose this is 1 and this is 2. Adding 1 and 2, or from 1 and 2, what we will have, see the left side addition, a minus b plus b minus c, b cancels and we get a minus c. A minus c is equal to, the right side is kn plus hn, or that means k plus h times n, and this shows that a minus c is multiple of n. Therefore, A and C are congruent to each other by the definition. Instead of k, here is k plus h. K plus h is integer. All are integers, and therefore this implies, and thus A is congruent to C modulo n. Now see the first three properties. This property is known as transitive property. A is congruent to B modulo n, and B is congruent to C modulo n, implies A is congruent to C. So this is reflexive, this is symmetric, and this is a transitive property for congruences. So congruence is an equivalence relation. If all these three properties are satisfied, that type of relation is also known as equivalence relation. So simple properties are these, and we are using only the definition to prove the properties. Now see the next. So the next property is, if A is congruent to B, we shall consider fourth. Let A congruent to B mod n, and second is C congruent to D modulo n. So similar to this, we will have, this implies A minus B is equal to, now here we will use another letter, k1 times m by this definition. Instead of k, we are using k1 here, we will use k2 for second congruence. And C minus D is equal to k2 into n. Finally, what we have to prove is, for some integers, suppose this has 1 and 2 again, for some integers k1 and k2. Now next is, we want these congruences from, this is the fourth. A plus C is congruent to B plus D, we have to prove this, and also AC congruent to BD, that we have to prove. Now to get A plus C, we will add this. So adding 1 and 2, what we shall get is A plus A minus B plus C minus D, or we can directly write A plus C minus is common, B plus D. And right side addition is k1n plus k2n. N is common, so on right side we shall write k1 plus k2 times n. And this directly shows that this difference is multiple of n, and therefore these two are congruent modulo n by that definition. So this implies A plus C is congruent to B plus D mod n, and that is first result in the fourth property. Now second result we have to show is AC is congruent to BD. Now to prove AC is congruent to BD, so we shall write the value of A and C from equations 1 and 2. What is A from the first equation? You see, A will be transfer B on right side, minus B becomes plus, and thus from 1 and 2 we can write A into C. Next, by 1 and 2, we have A into C is equal to, A is B plus k1 times n, and C from this is D plus k2 times n. Now see this product. So first B into D, and plus, for the remaining we will take n common, and you may observe simple product B k2 times n, n is taken common, so B k2, and next is multiply D and k1n, so n is common, k1d, and plus, now the last term of this and last term of this will be k1 k2 n square. N is taken common, so in bracket we have to write k1 k2 into n, and this will be k1 k2 n. And now we will observe this as n is common, or this is AC is equal to BD plus this, or that means AC minus BD will be equal to this integer we will consider as z into n, where Z is equal to bk2 plus k1d plus k1k2 into n. Why we have written like this? Because all are integers and therefore this combination also is integer, and that is assumed as z. Now difference of these two is z times n, therefore these are congruent to each other by this definition. So this implies, or this shows, AC congruent to BD mod n, and thus proves the fourth property. Now this is also similar to fourth, only the difference is single congruence is considered. So proof for fourth will be we have proved fourth. Now proof for fifth. A is congruent to B. Consider it, apply the definition. We are using only the definition of congruence, that definition. Fifth property, A congruent to B mod n. So therefore A minus B is equal to Kn for some k. And next what we have to show is A plus C is congruent to B plus C modulo n. This we have to show. And from this we can consider the value of A as for, this is for some integer k. And therefore now the value of A is equal to B plus Kn from the C. And now we shall add C to this A on both sides. Therefore, or this implies A plus C is equal to B plus C plus Kn. And now we can take the difference of A plus C and B plus C, and that this is shifted on left side, and this difference remains as Kn, multiple of n. This difference is multiple of n, therefore these two are congruent modulo n definition, and thus this implies A plus C is congruent to B plus C modulo n, and proves the first part in this property. Now second follows similarly, AC is congruent to BC. Also from this multiply the relation by C on both sides. We may suppose 1, this as 1, from 1 what we have is A into C is equal to, multiply by C on either side, that is BC plus KCN, and this implies AC minus BC is equal to KC into n, or that is multiple of n. This difference is multiple of n, and thus this implies AC is congruent to BC modulo n, and thus proves the fifth property. Now what is remaining is the sixth property. Now we shall consider the proof for sixth property. What the sixth property says, if A is congruent to B under modulo n, then A power k is congruent to B power k. That we shall prove, and the result we shall prove using the method of induction, or I shall consider here. These are simple but important properties of congruences. For the last result, see, we shall use the method of induction. And what is the method of induction? To prove this result, A to the power k is equal to B to the power k mod n. So this is to be proved given A is congruent to B modulo n, and the result, obviously this result is true for k is equal to 1, is true, 1 is true for k is equal to 1, because if k is equal to 1, that becomes A is congruent to B, and this is given. So therefore the result is true for k is equal to 1. Assume the second step in the induction, assume the result 1 for k is equal to m, and then to prove the result for k is equal to m plus 1. So assume the result is true for result 1 is true for k is equal to m, and that gives a to the power m is congruent to b to the power m modulo n, because we have assumed the result is true for k is equal to m. Now what is the we have to prove? It is true for k is equal to m plus 1. Also we have given a is congruent to b mod n. So this is given, a is congruent to b mod n, and now we multiply these congruences side by side. So this is the property, as you may observe. Which property is this? A is congruent to b modulo n and c is congruent to d modulo n, two congruences. Then a into c is congruent to b into d under the same modulo. So therefore, this implies by this fourth property, by property 4, a into a to the power m is equal to b into b to the power m modulo n, or that means a to the power m plus 1 is congruent to b to the power m plus 1 under same modulo n, and thus this proves the result is 1 is true for k is equal to m plus 1. That is the procedure for the method of induction. So therefore, the result 1 is true for k is equal to m plus 1, and thus by induction 1 is true for every positive integer 1. Therefore, by induction or mathematical induction, 1 is true for any positive integer k, and thus this proves the last property, that is sixth property, and thus this completes the theorem. Now we shall consider some one simple example as show that 41 divides 2 raised to 20 minus 1. Now this is a part of calculation. Without using actual calculations, we shall use the congruence properties to prove this. Now we will consider like this. So what is the integer near to 41 in the power of 2? Now what are the powers of 2? 2 square is 4, 2 cube is 8, 2 raised to 4 16, 2 raised to 5 32, and then 2 raised to 6 is 64. 2 raised to 5 32 is near or close to 41. So we shall consider 2 raised to 5, or we start with 2 raised to 5. How this number is considered? That is 32, and is congruent, or we can write here the congruence relation. Whenever there is equality, we can write congruence, and 2 raised to 5 is congruent to 32, and 32 is congruent to which number under mod 41, that we shall decide. Now a smaller number to 32 which is congruent to 41, we may consider positive or negative also, and this, if you consider minus 9, then the sum of see, the difference of these two means 41, and 41 divides 41. So therefore 32 is congruent to minus 9 modulo 41 by definition, because the difference of these two becomes 41, and that is divisible by 41. Or thus we shall consider that is 2 to the power 5 is congruent to minus 9 mod 41. Now we want the power as 20. So therefore we will raise this power 20. Last theorem we shall use. If A is congruent to B mod n, then we have A to the power k is congruent to B to the power k mod n. And therefore we raise the same power to this as 2 raised to 5 to the power 4. Why fourth power? Because 2 to the power 20, laws of indices we shall use. And this is congruent to minus 9 to the power 4 mod 41. Theorem 1, last result. That was theorem 2, last result. And thus this is 2 to the power 20 is congruent to. Now this may be considered as a fourth power of this is positive, and 9 to the power 4 can be considered as 9 square into 9 square, that we will write 81 into 81, positive number, mod 41. So we shall suppose this as one relation. Next, see, 81 is congruent to which number under mod 41? Now we know that for 82, 41 divides 82, and therefore to make it 82 we consider minus 1 here. Difference of these two is 82 and 41 divides 82, and thus we have, therefore, now we multiply the congruences on side by side. We have proved the property. A is congruent to B and C is congruent to D, then A into C is congruent to B into D. So 81 into 81 is congruent to minus 1 into minus 1, and again that under modulo 41 by the property of earlier theorem. Or this means 81 into 81 is congruent to 1 mod 41. And now we refer this as second. We again use the transitive property, that means third property of theorem 2. So what the third property says, combine 1 and 2, from 1 and 2. This 2 raised to 20 is congruent to this number, and this number is congruent to 1. So therefore 2 raised to 20 is congruent to 1 under modulo 41. And thus this proves the result that 41 divides the difference of these two, and therefore 41 divides 2 raised to 20 minus 1, and that is the required result. So this is about an example. Now we consider the next result as our theorem 3. The theorem statement is, if C into A is congruent to C into B modulo n, then we can cancel C on both sides provided one condition: A is congruent to B, modulus becomes different. It is not remain n, but it is n divided by D, where D is GCD of C and n. So the GCD of C and n, GCD of this number C and n is D. So this is what we have to prove now. We have proved that if A is congruent to B modulo n, then AC is or CA is congruent to CB. But the converse is not true. That means this does not imply A congruent to B. We can't cancel C only, but we have to change this modulus by n divided by D, where D is GCD of C and this number, common number, and n. Now the proof. We shall start with this given. Let CA is congruent to CB modulo n, and what this implies, therefore CA minus CB is equal to some integer k times n by definition, where k is an integer or k is some integer. For some integer k, or thus we can take C common and we can write C into bracket A minus B is equal to k into n, and now we suppose this as 1. Now further what we shall consider is the GCD. Given GCD of C and n is D, GCD of C and D is equal to C and it is n. C and n is D. So therefore D is divisor of C, D is divisor of n. and we can write C and N as a multiple of D, or therefore there exist relatively prime integers. Property of greatest common divisor. R and S such that we will have this C is equal to R into D and N is equal to S into D. Now we may refer this as a second relation. Now what we shall consider is we put the value of C here, and also we put the value of N in 1. So from 1 and 2, or putting the values of 2 in 1. So what we will have is now C is RD. So therefore this is RD into A minus B is equal to, right side is K into N and N is SD. So KSD. D is common on both sides. So we can cancel D from both sides. And this gives R into A minus B is equal to K into S. And thus this difference is multiple of S. And that means S divides R into A minus B. This implies S divides R into A minus B. But you see, R and S are relatively prime because of this greatest common divisor. R and S are relatively prime, and we have C is equal to RD and N is equal to SD. And R and S are relatively prime means their GCD is 1. But R and S are relatively prime, or their GCD of R and S, or S and R, is 1. And now we apply the Euclid's lemma. So what is Euclid's lemma? If A divides BC and A and B are relatively prime with GCD of AB is 1, then A must divide C. So same lemma we shall apply here. GCD of S and R is 1. Therefore, this S must divide A minus B. So by Euclid's lemma, S divides A minus B. And S divides A minus B means A minus B is multiple of S. So A minus B is equal to S into some integer. So we can consider the integer as say SH for some integer S. Some integer H. And thus this implies A minus B. A minus B, what is the value of S here from this is, S is N divided by D. A minus B is equal to N divided by D into H. Or thus these two integers are congruent under modulo N divided by D. And this implies A is congruent to B modulo N divided by D. And this is what we wanted to prove. A is congruent under modulo N divided by D. Now what is the meaning of the theorem is, see, we have for illustration, we shall consider like this. For example, say 14 and under the modulo 4 we shall consider 14 is congruent under modulo 4 to the number as 2. Yes, but this we can write as 14, we can write 2 into 7 and this we may write this as 2 into 3 also, or you see 14 is congruent to 6 under modulo 4. Yes, it is 14 minus 6 is 8 and 4 divides 8, so we can write like this, and thus this can be factored as 2 into 7 and this can be factored as 2 into 3 under modulo 4. But this does not imply 7 is congruent to 3 under modulo 4, and what we should have is the GCD of 2 and 4 is 2. So what we shall have to prove is 7, whether this implies 7 is congruent to 3 under modulo 4. Yes, that, but we will have to show this implies GCD of 2 and 4, GCD of, see the theorem, CA is congruent to CB modulo N, and the GCD is considered as C and of N. So GCD of C here is 2 and N here is 4, and that is 2. And therefore now we can cancel out 2 from both sides, and by theorem 3, this is 7 is congruent to 3 under mod 4 divided by 2, and thus that is 7 is congruent to 3 under modulo 2. And that is one illustration of this theorem. And if the integers are relatively prime, then the congruence holds. For example, say minus 35 is congruent to 45 under modulo 8, mod 8. And here we can write this minus 35 as 5 into minus 7, and this as 5 into 9 under modulo 8. But see the GCD of 5 and 8, this number C and N. So GCD of 5 and 8 is 1. They are relatively prime. But GCD 5, 8 is 1. And therefore we can divide by 1 only. 8 is divided by 1 and we get, so this implies minus 7 is congruent to 9 modulo 8. 8 divided by 1 is 8. So here direct cancellation holds. We have cancelled 5 and we get minus 7 congruent to 9 under the same modulo. But here we have the GCD is GCD of 2 and 4 is 2, and therefore we have divided by 2 and we get the result as 7 is congruent to 3. So this is the illustration of the theorem, and the remaining part we will continue next time. Thank you.